Parashat Shoftim, coming close to the end of the year, very, very fast. So, and as a result of that, the Torah wants to help us. And we know that our physical world that is revealed to us is really being conducted and run by really the spiritual laws of the upper world. The concept of tzedek, which is justice, exists both b'tachtonim and b'elyonim, both in this world and in the other world, in the spiritual world and the physical world. If we want justice in the world, or we want to awaken justice in the world, we have to learn how to do it right. We have to understand what justice is all about, how to do it right, and maybe then we can awaken up. That awakening creates kind of a wave that carries over into the world. Most of the parasha deals with the proper, and it's interesting because I was talking with my mother today about, how to a certain extent the state of Israel is really a tremendous missed opportunity in creating a society that is just and known. However, this parasha deals of how appropriately building and conducting a society. And the Torah says, Shoftim v'shotrim, right? You have to create yourself judges and call it policemen, let's go to that. Having a prophet, and having a king, designating, I guess, those who will sit on top of society, and what are the criteria that we're going to pick our leaders. So the parasha really talks about those nominations that we have to do for Klal Yisrael, for the conduct of the nation. Of course, we need a king, which is a machloket if we need a king or we could have a king, and so on and so forth. I personally, with the trend maybe being the anarchist that I am, or the libertarian that I am, or whatever that I am what I am, is I lean more towards the concept that if you want to, you should have a king, but you don't have to. And if you look in the Torah very carefully, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. As I said, we need a dayan. We need judges. We need all these symptoms of elements of a healthy society, and all the issues of a society or a forming nation starts with this parasha. So here comes the Torah and trying to teach us how to build a society that is built on justice, tzedek. Not this justice that the earthly justice, and I have to say, earthly justice which is familiar to all of us, but rather the divine justice is a tzedek, justice that is connected and established on the laws of the Torah, which is the laws of creation itself. Now, I want to tell you something that is very interesting, and maybe that's what I try to build the whole concept of this shiur upon. The Ari Kadosh says that the world, the universe, is what he calls Olam Gadol, a great world, a big world. Ve'ha'adam, and mankind, is Olam Katan, is a small universe itself, where one contains the other and the other contains the other. Okay? Man is in the world and the world is in man. And when we learn this parasha, we have to understand that we're not necessarily talking only about society, but also, and maybe even more so, specifically towards our own personal conduct, building our own self, our internal conduct of each and every one of us. Each and every one of us has a whole society inside of him. Different forces, different voices, different needs, different urges. And we need to learn how to appropriately conduct our business in a very healthy and appropriate way, which would serve creation. In our case, as mankind, humans, the mankind is the judge. He's the policeman. He is the king, and maybe he's even the prophet of himself. It's all within us. In other words, in each and every one of us, there are those forces or abilities inside of us, and we need to be able to maneuver and conduct ourselves in a balanced way to as a functioning internal society, small world. Of course, all according to Torah, not according to, well, everybody in my family does it, my community does it, my grandparents did it, my parents are expecting me to do this, or my grandparents are expecting me to do the others. Everybody in my age is doing that. Who cares? You are a world on your own. You need to conduct yourself according to the laws of Torah, not according to the laws of what they did in Bagram, Afghanistan, or they did in, downtown, Tijuana. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what you do. I don't care what society does. I don't care what your classmates do. You need to do what you need to do. And that has to be according to the Torah. Chazal tells us that the Parashat tells us that we have to nominate Shoftei Tzedek, justice of, or judges of justice, call it this way. And that nomination has to be like that they're going to be on a level that they would understand and they would know that they need to be the judges of justice. Not they should understand the magnitude of their job and the way to conduct it themselves. In other words, don't take a guy from the street and make him into a judge. It has no havamina whatsoever what needs to be done. Because it says, tzedek, tzedek tirdof. You have to chase after that. In order to chase after that, you have to know what you're chasing after. That should be the goal of what you are, or how you determine things. Justice, again, in the eyes of the Torah. Not about, well, this person has feelings also, so what if he's a little fruit fly or whatever he is, and so on and so forth. Okay, I understand he has feelings, but the Torah says to do that, Torah says to do that. As much as that's somebody's test, I have tests of my own. I mean, who would not like to go to Japan and spend some night over there, eating sukiyaki, made by, blind chefs or whatever. I would love to, but Torah says I can't have it. Everybody has his own tests. And yet, we're expected to pass it. You have to judge the justice according to the eyes of the Torah. Don't come and tell me, oh, well, the Torah is obsolete, so throw it out. Things change. Things did not change. In the Torah, things are eternal, forever. Things don't change. So, in our reality, which is quite known to us, usually nominations are a result of all kind of like maneuvering, all kind of interests and self-promoting interests, and so on and so forth. Whether it's a person wants to have kavod, honor, or he wants to have fame and glory, or he wants to push a certain agenda. I mean, that's what I stopped listening to politics, and I stopped even paying attention to politicians. And I'll tell you why. Comes a politician, whatever it is. Let's say he's a Marxist politician. He's educated on Karl Marx and all the other, cholerot, right? And now he was elected into a position of power. Mayor, governor, president. He's pushing his own agendas because of his whatever imagination. He's not interested in doing what's good for the people. He convinced himself and therefore trying to convince everybody that his agendas, that's what's good for the people. If you would have a company, let's say you have a healthy company, arguments, let's say you have a Walmart, you run something of that magnitude, a big company, and every now and then comes a certain person and you change CEOs of the company. Well, this one wants to do this, and 8 years later, somebody else comes to do what. You're not going to be able to have growth. That's why, for example, in America, in theory, of course, in theory, we have something that's called the Constitution. And you have to stay loyal to the Constitution. That's an example, yeah? You have to stay loyal to the Constitution. Whatever there will be, that's loyal to the Constitution. But he can't come up and say something that it doesn't say in the Constitution, that it's constitutional. The same thing regarding Torah. Whatever the Torah says, whether you think it's right or you think it's not right, excuse me, sir, nobody really asked you. You're supposed to be the guard of the Constitution, and to our case, lehavdil, we should be the guards of Torah. It's not here, we're not running here a session of like, okay, so how do you feel today? You feeling good today? What's your problem? We're not doing here Freudian's lay on the sofa kind of a therapy. We're trying to run the world. We're trying to fix the world. Or we're trying to run a country. Or a city. Or your family. Or yourself. We're not playing here pretending we are. And that's the problem. And that's why you get, for example, a country into such a turmoil, and then all of a sudden you can't control it. It's almost like you go, I don't know, most of you haven't got on a motorcycle, Baruch Hashem, yeah, yofi. But try to do so on a bicycle, okay? You ride on a bicycle, you put two hands, you have right and you have left, and you're riding on a bicycle, right? Riding on my tricycle, your bicycle, you're riding like this, Akol Tov Yafe. Say hello to the girl next door, say hello to the, Now, if you're going to start going like this, swaying a little bit, and then you're swaying, you're going to let it go, all of a sudden, you're going to get into such a wave, you're going to get ejected out of your bicycle. You guys don't go on bikes. Needless to say, if you're driving something like a big fat motorcycle, imagine you're driving like a Ninja or Ducati. Why are you running away? You practicing bikes lately? Right? With tremendous amount of power, and you start zigzagging, you're going to fly, you're going to die. That's what happens to our society. Because we don't nominate us, we don't nominate the appropriate leaders, but rather we nominate the leaders that tell us what we think we want to hear, not the leaders that know what they need to do, who first of all dare to serve the people, and they don't view the people as a vehicle to serve themselves, to go into retirement, rich and famous. That's the problem. That's what the Torah tells you. First of all, before you're going to become a nation, before you're going to enter the land, you have to know how to pick the people at the top. At the top. Now, if you go to those nominations, right? So, for example, people make the wrong nominations. You go for the wrong reasons. Again, you're not going there to do the right thing. You're going there for fame and glory. You want to go into early retirement, with and then give lectures for $1 million a night. Or you able to nominate all those people, by the way, are involved with nepotism, right? They get their friends, their friends and family. It's called a friends and family, maneuvers, right? All the friends and family. I owe you something. Okay, you become a minister of scratch my back. You become whatever. You know what I'm saying, right? And so therefore you don't nominate people based on their talents. You have to know what the talents are. And not according to, by all means, can you put the AC, the electricity here? Sam, go, put the AC. Or you don't nominate people based on talents or based on their good midot and good qualities, are they loyal, they're not loyal, and so on and so forth. And that's what we shouldn't say. That's what we shouldn't do. The Torah comes and tells us the judge needs to be a person of very good midot, more than anybody else in society. He has to be a big tzaddik in society. Why? So when he sits in the din, when he sits in the judgment, he should not operate or determine what the din is based on his unresolved issues, based on what his mommy did to him when he was 3 years old, based on what his friends outcasted him, any kind of profit, and so on and so forth, any other things like that, whether he's going to get money out of this, whether it's or maybe it's taking revenge on somebody. Oh, now you need me? Okay, now I'll show you, right? This is not what we need to do. Or I just don't like the guy. Or maybe I can get more benefit from this guy. So in order not to fall into this thing, you have to be, first of all, a truthful person. A person that always deals with the truth and seeks the truth. Why? So he could avoid and not listen to his emotion. Determine things based on the truth, not based on, in other words, be objective, not subjective. What is right and what is wrong? Not, what's your reflection on that? And it's a very hard thing to do. That's why not everybody could become a judge. Because it says, Shoftim v'shotrim titen lecha, that means you are going to nominate. I'm not going to nominate, Hashem says. You, ata, you going to nominate. And it says, and of course, the emphasis is on the way in which you're going to nominate them. And you need to understand, as we said before, based on the criteria and the selection that you're going to do, you nominate the people, right? What the nature of those judges, that's how it's going to be. That's how how society is going to look like, right? And how they're going to do so, and why is that? Shishpetu mishpat tzedek. Why? Because if you have judges that don't judge according to justice, the whole reality changes. The reality will become according to the people that stay on the top. We need to understand that the even your own judgment, what you call your own judgment, your own opinion, is determined to most of you, unless of course you are a different person, to most of you based on what somebody on top decides. And I'm sure, for example, I'll just take this as an example, right? I'm sure that you've been hurt so much and been bombarded so much with that, and I'm sure all of you can give us a very good argument why it's good to have also transgender bathrooms and everybody could go to the bathroom together in the big kumbaya, like a beautiful Roman fountain. Where's the decency? Because you've been bombarded. Why? With some people on top that determine that. Do I need to tell you about the DSM-3 or the DSM-4 and other things that were taken out of there because they were just like, all right, let's take it out. Now everybody swears by it. You know what I'm talking about, right? And so on and so forth. Most of the opinions of the people, if you take them out, I told you the story about in Israel. There was this lady. She was a crazy left-wing, person. She was a reporter, crazy left-wing. She decided to disconnect herself from all media, everything, and then she tried to process things. She turned out to be right-wing. You're being bombarded and poisoned, and the whole society becomes like this. And who does it? A few people at the top to press the button, and everybody says amen to that. So your society would look as a reflection of the people who stay on top. And you're going to pick them, you select them. You see, democracy did not, or that form of governing, body was created in Greece, was created by the Torah. There's elections. The first one to have elections, you're going to do it, is you. You're going to choose it. And you are responsible for the way your society would look by judging, by appointing the appropriate people. And if you appoint crooked people, that's how it looks. That's how it looks. Now, one of the prayers in which we pray, by the way, which we do it 3 times a day, is which bracha that we say all the time. You guys don't know what I'm talking about? Are you all lost? I mean, we are talking about Shoftim, right? Hashiva. And Yofi, Chazak Baruch, yes, no, further down, or Yeshikoach to you, yes.
What
happened in the middle? You do the abbreviated version.
The
Va'aser mimenu yagon va'anacha. Shiva shoftenu k'harishona, v'yatzenu b'bukei v'tchila, va'aser mimenu yagon va'anacha. Ma kesher, what's the connection between one and the other? Connection is like this. So he says, Hashiva shoftenu k'harishona. In other words, allow us to have judges like we had beforehand. People that would lead us and judge us like we had beforehand. And by doing so, any kind of yagon, sadness, ve'anacha, sighing, would be removed from us. Really, what's the connection between the two? The connection is like this. In other words, all the suffering in the world, the source of the suffering in the world comes when there's no shoftei tzedek. The tzedek, it refers to the sfera of tiferet, which is the middle. Not too liberal, not too right wing. Right there in the middle. Tiferet. Shoftei tzedek, right? And what, by the way, is here in the middle? Chegar. Right? Right? So it's right here in the middle. That's the yagon ve'anacha. So when a person, when we have a person, not necessarily a judge, which to that matter I said to you, each and every one of us is also a judge. When you are shofet, shelo ketzedek, when you're not doing things according to the laws of the Torah, and the person who sits in judgment is not Baal Midot, is not a clean person, his judgment is going to come disturbed. It's distorted. It's not clean. In other words, he is not a clean vessel. So whatever comes out from him, the mishpat that will come out from him, even his own interpretation of the Torah, will be distorted, will be crooked. That's what we always say. If you hear a svara, let's say you say a svara of a big row, you have to say Baruch shekivanti. It's a good thing for you. You're mechaven ledat elyon to some great rabbi. I mean, it's an unbelievable thing. You should throw like a little feast if you say something like the Rambam or like the Gra or any of these people. If you say a whole svara, stop 1 second, say Baruch shekivanti, and you understand, you have to continue working, but so a nice feast will do nice, so you can write a check to Yeshiva as well, that will be just as good. But you know what I'm saying? But when you distort it, you can take the words of the Torah and distort it. That's why a person, certain people, the Torah is samachayim for them, like an elixir of life, and to some people it's a poison of death. Because since they did not clean themselves, that's why we en melamdim Torah ela letalmid shehu hagun, to an appropriate student. If you're not an appropriate student, I don't have a chiyuv to teach you Torah. I don't. And we're not running here a Kirov organization and putting plaques all over the place and saying we're stronger than anybody else, we say the truth. That's what it is. We have to do what the tzedek is. And that's simple as that. You want me to teach you Torah? Not a problem. Go fix yourself up. Stop with the shenanigans you do and come and teach you Torah. Why? Because if I'll teach you Torah and you are crooked, you're going to crookify the Torah. And that's a problem. And that will give you to death. Instead of lechaya olam haba, chas v'shalom, you niya avaryan b'reshut haTorah. You distort the Torah. So, and at that moment, when it's not already, when this is not chukiyut haTorah, you come in with your own svarot. That's why now you might understand why we always say, okay, the Rambam says, the Bet Yosef says, Rav Ovadia says, this so on and so on. You're building your case. You're not making stuff out of your mind. You have to have some basis to what you're saying. Okay? So when you don't do it like this, it's whatever mishpat will come up is not going to be mishpat tzedek. Mishpat tzedek is only according to the Torah. And when that happens, there is a Kabbalah concept, there's a concept that's called Histalkut HaOrot. In other words, there is an internal darkness that is being casted upon your neshama, upon your being. There's no divine light that is shining from you, like Moshe Rabbeinu. When Moshe Rabbeinu came to the mountain, there was light reflecting from him, some kind of like glory that was coming out of him. Because everything that Moshe Rabbeinu said, it was word by word, not even a comma out of place from HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them. So when there is a stalkut ha'orot, when there's no light, there is shadow, darkness upon us, then we have Yisurim, they have suffering. We have Yagon, we have pain, we sigh from the burden of life. There's a dark cloud coming down, you think I'm knocking on heaven's door. And then you... Mama, take this badge out of me. I can't shoot it anymore, right? I can't use it anymore. Who sings that?
Well, I don't know.
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan was the original.
Yeah, of course, that's it. Okay, Bob Dylan was a Jew, it's all good. Yalla. Mordechai Zimmerman, that's all we can. Rabbi Zimmerman. Arichka, как дела? ¿Cómo estás, Ari? Bopo, motek, bopo. All right? So therefore there is Yagon va'anacha. That's why Yagon ve'anacha, the suffering of life, really depends how much we suffer also as a society of how straight we are in terms of the way of the Torah. How straight we are in terms of the Torah. And by the way, this is also for the Adam HaPrati, for the individual person. As we said before, how you determine the Torah, how you interpret the Torah. If you go away of the Torah, you're going to suffer. This is the en malasot. And the suffer doesn't necessarily mean not having, I don't know what, a McLaren GT. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the greatest suffering for a person is to have no purpose. Is to live life like a zombie outside, כמו בהמה, אוכל ושותל ובועל ויושן וגם eats and drinks and gets up and that's it. That's min chaim zeh. Pointless life is the greatest misery that a person can have. So in Sefer HaLikutin of the Ari, Sefer HaLikutin on Parashat Shoftim, of course the question is being asked again. Why does it say Shoftim v'Shotrim? Right. Titen lecha bechol sha'arecha. Right. Why didn't it say Shoftim v'Shotrim? Titnu lachem bechol sha'archem. In all your gates. You as plural, not you as an individual. A singular. Plural should be, right? Talking to the people. V'aya ki tavou el haaretz. Right. The plural talking. So it says Shoftim v'Shotrim titen lecha. So the Ma'achur Rav Chaim Vital says there's a tremendous remez here, tremendous hint regarding the avodah of the person. He says each and every Jew, especially everybody else does, but each and every Jew has a shar, has a gate. And what are those gates? Shar HaReut, which is the eyes. Shar HaShema, listening, is the ears. Shar HaDibur, hu hapeh. Shar HaReach, hu ha'af. Shar HaMishush, feeling, is the hands and feet. That's why it says, Titen lecha bilshon yachid, as singular. Why are you sitting far? I take shower, put deodorant, Because here we're talking about, that's the remez that we said before, that's what we're talking about. This is not only for the nation, this is only for yourself, or the way to conduct yourself. In other words, each and every one of us is obligated to put guards at those openings, as the gates. Gates are, by the way, fascinating. Gates are always, a lot of good things happen, or whatever, action, let's call it good things. Action happens in the gates. Right? Bedin sits there, selling, buying, there's a lot of stuff there. So we have 7 openings, right? We have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 openings in the nose, and we have a mouth. And we are commanded to guard them, and to not only guard them, but also to sanctify them, purify and sanctify them. In other words, besides the openings that we have, for our bodily function, all those limbs also require us to use them in the appropriate spiritual manner. The mouth, the eyes, and so on and so forth. For example, let's say, for example, if I'm looking at something, right? I'm looking at something, gazing, looking at something. The question is that going to bring me to good or bad? I told you this many times. If you want to see if you're doing something bad on the spot, is this action going to bring me closer to Hashem or further from Hashem? I'm looking at something. Is this going to give me? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Why am I looking at what I'm looking? What's the purpose of that? For example, not only, and that's why he says Shoftim v'Shotrim. It should really say Shotrim v'Shoftim. For example, if I'm looking at something, right? The Shoter should tell me, don't look. And then comes the Shofet to determine it was good. Here it says no. First of all, determine, and after you determine it's good, but still you have to guard. In other words, so beyond the guard that stands there, that really controls where are we going to look or not. There has to be another branch of government that actually have to really look into that to see if the look that I'm looking, not only to guard, that now that I'm looking, is that davar mitzvah or davar avera. Not only to guard me to do or not to do, but also to determine if it's davar mitzvah or davar avera. That selection, that berur, selection, goes to all the gates. For example, there is shmiya shel avera. You can hear something of avera, right? Ma ze shmiya shel avera? Everybody going to tell you lashon hara verechilut, right? I'm going to add on to that. Hevlei haolam, nonsense of the world. Shtuyot. For example, anybody wants to give me nonsense of the world? Why, I good. By the way, guys, you heard? Nicki Minaj is retiring from music. She's going to have a family. Ah, Patli! The shtuyot. Yeah, really. Oh, you're married already, Achatul. That's nonsense. Nonsense. You know, Donald Trump went to Florida to play golf. No, okay, now what? Mach Patli. The shtuyot, nonsense. What do I care? Ma echpat li miadvarim haele. I have ears. So instead of listening, and that's what we all, by the way, this is how we fall and we fail. By making ourselves, we reduce our spiritual immune system. If I'm going to tell you, oh, this guy is that, I don't want to hear this. I know he's so how I'm going to get your guard down? How I'm going to get your spiritual immune system down? I'm going to talk to you about nonsense, about things that matter about nothing. And now that you got your immune system down, you fall asleep on the job, now I can attack you with Lashon Hara, now I can attack you with Rechilut. So you want to avoid Lashon Hara and Rechilut is not a problem. Only hear things that are good for you. תתחיל לשמוע דברי תורה, דברי חכמים. How many times we go to rabbis for barachot, for this, but meanwhile the rabbi tell you, listen, you can't do, take stuff out, there's no eruv. That you don't want to hear. The rabbi gives you a good advice. That you don't want to hear. You go usually when you and us, right? We go to rabbis who tell us what we want to hear. It makes us feel good. And if you go to a rabbi who tells you something else that contradicts with what you think, you call him a fake. Meanwhile, you're the fake, not the rabbi. You're the fake. You don't have any Torah in you. He has Torah. How can you tell me that you know more than him? So the one who is fake is you. And that's why whatever you say is going to be distorted. Distorted. You're not ruling by Torah. For example, so listen to Shiurei Torah, listen to mitzvot, listen to Sipurei Chachamim. There's so many things. Listen to Moshe Chabusha all day long. It's wonderful stuff, right? You like Moshe Chabusha? It's a dig. Unbelievable. There's a smell, for example, smell. יש הערכה של מצווה. What's מצווה? בסמים. בורא בסמים. אתה אומר, you smell something good. You know, make a bracha על הריח. You should know that in Sefer Charedim it says that the mitzvah of lo tin'af is the notrikon, the short version of lo tehene af. Don't enjoy your nose, because in your nose also you have to be careful. For example, you're not supposed to smell perfume of women that are not allowed to you. In other words, the only one you can smell the perfume and actually enjoy it is your wife. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did with me chesed gadol. Did with me chesed gadol. I'm extremely allergic to perfume. I can't take it. It burns my throat. It burns my... I can't take it. I go to department stores. I get sick. My sinuses hurt. I start like this coughing. So I'll take this asthma and I say, Baruch Hashem, because I suffer. If a woman walks with perfume, I suffer. Lo ne'enem mizeh, I suffer. The only perfume doesn't bother me. I really believe me. I'm telling you, it's my wife's perfume. That doesn't bother me. Kadosh Baruch Hu did the great chesed with me. I can't stand perfume. Women's perfume is shageh. My eyes are burning. It's a nightmare. It's mamash a nightmare. So you can do avarah with your mouth. The same thing about food, right? There is achila shel isur and there's shel heter. You're eating something. That's why you cannot compromise, and that's a huge problem when we come about food. We like to compromise. Everybody became an expert in kashrut. Didn't open a Shulchan Aruch. Needless to say, ever even learned the shach. An expert in kashrut. And where does it go? The food. Where does the food go after you eat? To what? To your stomach. And by eating food that is inappropriate, right, what happens to you? It goes into your stomach. The stomach is tiferet. It affects your tiferet. It affects your judgment. And then you become more distorted. Now you understand why you cannot cut corners about kashrut? Rabotai, when I tell you Pat Israel as much as you can, there is halacha. If the halacha tells you a place you cannot eat Pat Israel, you could eat Pat Israel, only eat. If a place tells you you can eat also Pat Akum, so you can eat Pat Akum. According to the halacha, you are not determining it. The halacha determines. However, Chalav Israel is a must. If you live in Wyoming, you know, some hole in Wyoming, I hear you, and you have to drink milk. Okay, I think it's about time you grow up from milk, but never mind. Okay, you have Moshe to rely on, maybe, in terms of that. But if not, Yeshua Chalav Israel. How many companies of Chalav Israel you want? There's about 4 of them in every given supermarket. What's the problem? Why not to have it?
How is the quality?
This is all the same thing. Chalav Israel is even better.
Not true.
Shh. So don't drink milk, honey. You're a big grown man. You don't need milk.
That's your opinion.
I know it's my opinion. That's why I'm saying it. Now, talking about glycerin in your food, about your toothpaste, don't have it. Don't have it. You don't like the taste of not glycerin toothpaste? It's too bad. Too bad. Take baking soda, brush your teeth. For all I care. That's very simple. You do all these things, right? You think that you know everything, then you become distorted. It's very simple. Very simple. You don't know. If you don't know, rule number 1, listen to those who do know. Listen to those who do know. The Netivot Shalom comes and says that the whole essence of a person comes from gates. And all your life is depend and determined on the gates, on those gates. Because it says on Yaakov Avinu, שהגיע אל הר המוריה, when he came to the Temple Mount, for those of you who forgot, which the Beit HaMikdash stood, not El Aqsa, Beit HaMikdash. אין זה כי אם בית האלוקים, וזה שער השמיים. The place of Beit HaMikdash was the place of connection between this world with the Olamot HaElyonim, with the upper worlds. Beit HaMikdash was the place of Yeridat HaShefa LaOlam. That was the manhole of all spirituality in the world. That's why it was a grave mistake to hand it over to them, not to give it back, to hand it over. And this is the gate in which we could connect. I mean, people go, that's why people still go to the Kotel. Imagine what would happen. People feel so uplifted when they go to the Kotel. Imagine what would have happened in the time, or what happened at the time of Beit HaMikdash. What wild energy. You go to Yerushalayim, you already feel like a little wacky when you go there. You know, there's this raw energy all over Israel, especially Jerusalem. There's really raw energy. People go, there's a Jerusalem syndrome, yes? Everybody knows that. In the time of Beit HaMikdash, bichlal. So that's the place that we connect. All our avodah, everything that we need to do is really to keep those gates and to create the appropriate chibur, the appropriate connection through them. It will be like taking the wires of electricity and wire them wrong, switching them around. Every time has a gate. For example, these are the times that we should pray. The times for tefillah comes up to a certain point. And after that certain point, after Zman tefillah, guess what happens? The gate closes. You try to open the door with the wrong key. That's why we say, you know, if the tefillah tadir v'she'eno tadir, because that's the key that opens the door. You're coming, you're missing up the time, you're missing up the key. And there is the time that you get up in the morning, and there is the time of Rosh Chodesh, and there is like Erev Rosh Chodesh, right? And Erev Rosh Chodesh, the gate for the month, or actually, whatever happens in the month happens at the gate of the month. And our awareness comes at that moment and determine really the path in which we're going to take from this point and on. So we're at the beginning of Chodesh Elul. Really the beginning of Chodesh Elul. And in Chassidut it says that the year does not really start at Tishrei, it really starts at Elul. It really starts at Elul. And the reason is because Elul is the gate for the new year. Elul is the gate for the new year. It's the month of Tshuva. It's the month in which you're supposed to look at yourself deeper inside, what we did, what we haven't done, even for what we did, what was the quality of the job that we did, the work, the avodat Hashem that we did. Was a quality work. Not only what you did and didn't do. You need to also determine what you did, how good or bad it was. And we have to check all these things that we do. Are we really makpid on all the gates that we have? Am I shomer riyah, looking? Am I shomer negiyah, touching? Do I pay attention to my kashrut level? Every year you're supposed to go one level up in your kashrut level. If you haven't, something is wrong with that. Why? Why haven't you increased your kashrut awareness from one year to another? What? Imagine you will be in school. How many years would you like to stay in second grade? You're already having, like a prostate problem. You're so old, you're still in second grade. That's the same arguments that you give me here all the time. Enough already with those arguments. Enough with those things, because that's why you get stagnant spiritually where you are. You never advance. Increase your awareness. examine the quality of your avodat Hashem. There's no reason why not. You have everything possible in the world. Everything possible. And don't tell me I'm not there yet. Nobody is ever there yet. But what is the derech in which you're going? Are you on the path to get there yet? Certain things you have to drop immediately. Certain things you have to drop immediately. But certain things, it's a slow process. You increase your awareness. That's why if you learn halachot, if you learn your redea more than once or twice or 3 times, you'll see that the greatest effect that you will have from learning your redea, let's say, basar bechalav ta'aruvot, is your awareness on kashrut. You learn something 3 or 4 times, you learn about, ma'achalot asurot of, bishul goyim and stuff like that. You'll increase your awareness. But if you're an Am Haaretz and you don't learn, all you're going to do is argue rhetoric that people that you heard from here and there, never solid proofs from what you're saying. So basically what you're telling me, it's okay for you to be a failure. You like to be a failure. You like to stay in 2nd grade. You could be 50 years old, still in 2nd grade. But don't blame anybody but yourself. Sit down, do your homework, pass your test, and move on. Look at everything else that you do. I mean, in everything that you do, you would like to do the best. You would like, if somebody comes to tell you, listen, I can guarantee you graduate out of college, you just have to say yes, but with a C. Would you take it? Shlomo, would you take it?
What?
Everything, graduate out of college, C. Everything, C. Nothing below C level, right? Everything above C level. But C. That's very, knowing you, there will be, no, I want a B, I want an A. You want to feel good, right? Besides when it comes to Avodat Hashem, give me like, as long as I'm D, I'm fine. D minus is also good. How about your learning? Is your learning A plus? Or barely failing? F plus? I don't think there is such thing. Well, for you, we can create one. F plus. That's what you need to look at. So that's what we need to look at. Now, we live in a very difficult and very unique generation. As we know, we call this Ikvetah de Meshicha, the last generation. As it says in Ektuvim about this generation, it says Pnei Hador, Pnei HaKelev, like the face of the dog. You know where it says that? Huh? Kol HaKavod, Masachet Sotah. Very good. So what does it mean, Kefnei HaKelev? So there's a mashal of the Magid Miduvna about a dog that came with a complaint to a lion, right? He says to him, listen, both of us are chayot meod. We both are non-kosher animals, right? But why do they love you so much? The dog telling the lion, why do they love you so much? They put you on Aron HaKodesh, they put you on flag, the t-shirts, lions all the time. He says, on the other hand, for me, anybody that wants to disgrace anybody says, oh, you dog, right? Right away. Another dogly, superlatives. So the lion said to him, the whole thing is because I'm an equal opportunist. I don't, how do you say it? How do you say it? Differentiate. Thank you. Couldn't think about it. I had a brain freeze. I'm thinking about something else while I'm talking to you, so that's why my head is there. So it says, I don't differentiate. Why? I see a person, if I'm hungry, I'll eat it. I'll see a cow, I'm hungry, I'll eat it. I eat everything, I'm hungry. You are not the same, he said. You are not the same. He says, what do you do, Mr. Doggy? Right? You see everybody, you bark. You go like this. You bark. Comes this object of your barking, throws you a piece of bone, right? Give the dog a bone. throws you a little piece of meat, all of a sudden you're wiggling your tail, you're kol tov v'yafeh, you're running after him, you call him master, you're sitting like this all the time. You're a hypocrite. That's the difference. So pnei hador kepnei hakelev, right? So, most of the judges will say, oh, the judges are cruel. There's a tough judge. Besides, you go to the judge, you give him a little bakshish, all of a sudden he's your buddy. And you know what I'm talking about. There's a little payoff here. We'll help your daughter go into college. She'll graduate on a PhD without even knowing how to write. And all these favors that we do. Also, in our internal conduct, we also have to be very, very careful for what we call pnei hakelev, the dog face. That quality of dog inside of us is the dog that barks all the time. Give me, right? Give me. He's for this give me, he's willing even to turn away from things that he knows that are wrong, and he will tell about them that they are right. Right? You want people to like you. You don't care if the mother is Goya and the father married a shiksa and they do brit milah here for the. I'll make you chief rabbi. Before that, you were a radical dude. You were fighting milchamta shel Torah. You got a position of power. Pitom ata, right? Akol tov v'yafeh. Before you became a chashuv person, yadata kol haTorah kula besides one Rashi, right? Koach de'etera hadif. Now that you became a position of power, you forgot the whole entire Torah. The only thing you know, koach de'etera hadif, right? That's called pnei hakelev. Why? And by the way, that's going to come into a complete distortion. And the Torah tells you that. And the Torah tells you have to be careful. Why? Ki hashochad, bribery, whatever bribery you'll have, ya'aver einei chachamim ve'yesalev divrei tzadikim, is going to distort everything, including the Torah. And bribery does not necessarily mean bakshish in your pocket. It could be food in your mouth, could be something for your eyes to see. And that's what the Rambam says. If a person comes and says, he's sick, and the only thing they're going to do is bring me this girl and she's going to dance in front of me naked. The Rambam says, Yehareg velo ya'avor. That's what the Rambam says. Better if he dies than he violates that. Because you would say, pikuach nefesh, kol haTorah kula. No, there's certain things, Yehareg velo ya'avor. But for that, you need to know. So, we have to understand that in this special time that we had, in the koach that we have of Chodesh Elul, we could really do the ani lidodi v'dodi li very, very much, to really have siyata deshemaya, to really strengthen the guard that we need to carry us throughout the whole entire year, and to elevate the usage of all those gates that we have inside of us, whether it's in our body or the times that we are going in, whether it's Shabbat, whether it's by the way, Shabbat is the gate for everything, because we say Echad b'Shabbat. So what is the first day of the week? Sunday? No, Shabbat, because you always can first do Shabbat. So Shabbat comes before Sunday, right? So that's something that we need to do. Only then. We can reach the point of what we call uviarta hara mikirvecha, and you should abolish evil from you. And evil from you would mean the selfishness, retzon atzmi, which is yetzer hara, that only wants to receive. Only then we can reach a full chibur, a chibur shalem with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we have gilui shechina, and be'ezrat zeh, b'zchut the fact that we want the truth and we want justice, נזכה לתיקון עולם ולביאת משיח צדקנו, אמן.